What is up, y'all? I am super sleepy today. All freaking day I've been tired, but I still have things to do. I'm still adding to my pasta sauce I got going on in here, and I have a bag of defrosted tomatoes. And I know some people were curious about how freezing tomatoes turns out, and so I am going to show you just that. But I'm also going to talk about a little side project here about homemade gnat traps. So I was watching videos this morning, go figure, and there's two different methods with the apple cider vinegar and dish soap. And then you poke holes at the top or put some cellophane on top and poke holes in there. And it helps keep the gnats from flying out and in there. And I refreshed this morning. So far there's only one gnat. Then another dude says that the shallow dish on a lid works better. I'm not seeing any activity there. I honestly might just get that out. It's taking up countertop space and it's not attracting gnats as well as that is. I know other people have more gnats in theirs, and another feller added sugar to his. It's just a side project that I'm probably going to talk about later, because gnats are an issue this time of year, no matter who you are. And I got fly strips up, and yes, they get caught on those too, but I still have gnats because we got produce everywhere. So yeah, anyway. Oh, wait a minute, I lied. There is one gnat in there. I don't know if I'm going to toss it aside yet, but I am going to put it up here on this fryer for sure. Well, that's not going to work. I'm just going to dump it. It's not that much anyway. Alright, moving on. About these tomatoes. So we got this deep fryer handle in the way. Let's move that out of the way. Angle the camera down. Alright. Now I'm going to move my trash can near me. I'm going to pause while I wash my hands because nobody wants to watch me wash my hands, or watch me watch my hands. Okay, first thing you'll notice, when they defrost, they lose a lot of their water content in them. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a little bit of this, hold in tomatoes while I dump. And these typically take longer than 6 to 8 hours, like I leave them out to defrost. And sometimes the skin stays stuck on more so because of that. And I end up just throwing the tomato in the roaster pan. It's not that big of a deal. In fact, I've seen 1870s Homestead up there in Ann Arbor, Michigan. They prefer to leave their tomato skins on with their immersion blender and blend it all up together. And they say you can't even notice it. So I'm just not going to be that concerned about it. So previously, I cored and scored these tomatoes. If you don't know what coring and scoring is, I do happen to have a tomato corer right here. So I'll core out the stem part. You could also use a knife. You don't need something fancy like this, although this was only $2, but you know, if you don't have it, you don't have it. And then scoring is you cut an X at the bottom. And typically what I did last year is I boiled my tomatoes first and then put them in cool water, or just set them aside to let them cool down. And, you know, that's just extra steps when this is easier. It's more of a lazier method, and I'm all about lazy. So let me show you how easy these skins come off. That's it. And I like doing it over the sink because they're still losing water as I'm handling the tomatoes. And then I could just toss it into the roaster. Yep. So this is a really nice method when you're super busy. I mean, there's positives to it and there's negatives. Like, you have to wait longer for your tomatoes to defrost. So those are just things to consider, whichever way method you choose to do it. If you boil them or freeze them, that's just my takeaway for me, since I have a lot going on at the moment. I am freezing them and defrosting them. Another reason why you would want to do that is if you're only getting a few tomatoes and you don't have a bunch of tomatoes to process at once, then you could store them in the freezer until you have enough tomatoes to process. So that's also a bonus. Sometimes they're just a little bit hard to get off, but it's not bad. And then see, it's still dripping juice. So I have found this method to be very, very helpful for me this year. That way I could utilize my tomato harvest and not have to panic about processing and boiling a bunch of tomatoes at once. I mean, I'm just thrilled about this method. Not that I don't see anything wrong with boiling them either. That was very effective for me too. So I think you're getting the picture here that it could be a method for you. You know, give it a shot if you think it's going to work for you. You can't really use these tomatoes like slicing them up and putting them on your sandwiches though, because obviously they're just too mushy for that. But there's nothing wrong with making a salsa or a pasta sauce or probably even roasted tomatoes or whatever you plan on doing with it. Diced tomatoes, you can still freeze them and defrost them, and that'll save you some time in certain aspects. I think that's what I wanted to say. I don't know, read my mind, figure it out. I'm tired. Alright, so that being said, I am going to let you go. I'm going to rinse my hands off so I can turn my camera off real quick and get this, you know, I don't want tomatoes all over my camera. So I hope you enjoyed this, learned something. I mean, a lot of people already know about this. A lot of people don't know anything about this. So that's just my takeaway from this method, and I hope it's helpful to you. See, I can't talk, right? I'm so tired. All right, guys, I love you, and so does Jesus. God bless.